welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I taught my horses to move towards the mounting block. I had a lot of fun with both of them and I'm very pleased with the finished product. I wish you guys could see my camera setup. I'm literally on a stool on 2 pillows and I have my phone propped up on my windowsill trying to level it out with this Christmas ornament. Yeah, the things we do. Okay. Before we get started, I just want to talk to you about 2 things that I think are sort of a prerequisite for doing this. The first, it's really important to understand how a horse learns. Horses, they learn from the release of pressure. This exercise is going to confuse your horse and your horse is not going to know what to do. So if you release at the wrong time, you're literally teaching him that behavior. Just know that the release of pressure is how we are really training a horse here. So the second thing is just having your horse's respect, because your horse is going to be very confused when you start teaching this and they're likely going to be making a lot of mistakes. So again, you don't want to release at the wrong time, but you also want to make sure that your horse respects you enough so that he doesn't crowd your space and doesn't put you in harm's way. And if he does come towards you, that you have the confidence to be able to back him up out of your space. All that you really need for this exercise are your horse. I use a rope halter, lead rope, and a mounting block or a log. Also, having a fence available is really helpful in case you get stuck. Alrighty, so let's get to it. I'm going to start at my mounting block and have Theodore turn and face me. The end product, I want to be able to raise my hand or my whip and draw Theodore's hindquarters towards me. But I'm going to start this by putting the pressure on his opposite hip and not releasing until he gives me the right answer, moving his hips towards me. Then I'm going to release and rub, let him know he's done the right thing. I try sending him out, but he kind of crowds my space, so I'm just going to push those 4/4 out away from me and then reset. He's a little heavy on this draw in, something that we're still working on. And I'm going to start over, tap the other side, and as soon as he steps towards me, I'm going to release and rub. I'm just breaking this down step by step, asking for literally 1 step, and then I'll put it together at the end. But he caught on to this concept really well. It's important to go slow and make sure the horse understands the concept of what you're doing. So when I put the pressure, he needs to move away from it. And then you can kind of put those pieces together. Just moving him out of my space again, and then I'm gonna reset. This time I'm kind of adding a pre-cue with my fingers, and then I tap the air, and then I tap his hip, and when he's not listening, I increase that intensity. And then once he comes towards me with that hip, then I release and rub. Asking for it again. Tapping the air, and each time that he steps towards me, I'm now kind of just adding a pause. I'm asking for a few more steps this time. Now that he's kind of understood the general concept, again I add the finger cue and he keeps coming towards me. He caught on so fast, I was really shocked. I think it's because of all the groundwork that we've done over the last 1.5 years. He actually learned this a lot faster than Misty. He took about 5 minutes and she took like 25 and was so confused, and we had to go to the fence to kind of work with her. And you can see it was a really cloudy day. The clouds were just rolling overhead so quickly. This was only about 5 minutes time, but they were just blown over. So it's already getting a lot better. I'm just able to lightly tap that hip and he's moving it towards me. And I'm just tapping the air here, and I'm only tapping the hip if it's needed. But I'm asking him to come all the way to the mounting block this time. And I'm giving him a good rub over each time that he does the right thing. Here I'm just tapping the air and he's able to move those hindquarters towards me. And once he gets all the way there, then I can release and rub. My phone died, so I had to run to my car to charge it for like 5 minutes, and I came back to this beautiful lighting, and this is my end result here. I'm able to just tap that air, and he moves all the way towards me. We're gonna keep working on this and improving it, but this is something that I've always seen other people do and just wondered how on earth they were able to do that. And I went out and I tried, and it was so much easier than I thought. So I was really pleased with this end result. Tip number 1, be able to move your horse's forequarters, hindquarters, back him up. That might come in handy. Tip number 2, when training horses, you really have to train both sides of the horse. So you can't just train the left side and think that the right is going to be able to do the same thing. You have to train them independently. Tip number 3, this one is really important, but make sure that you use a light whip. You might be moving that arm quite a bit and the horse is not getting the right answer, and you have to keep moving it until they get the correct answer. Otherwise, if you release too early, you're teaching the horse the wrong thing. Tip number 3? Tip number 4. Tip number 4, make sure to reward your horse. After he gets the correct action, give him a break, let him rest for a second, show him that he did the right thing. Tip number 5, reward the small steps. Don't expect for your horse to go from point A to point B the first try. Just reward the small steps. If he moves the hindquarters towards you just one step, then reward that behavior. Release, rub him, give him a little break, try it again. Eventually, as he gets better and better, then you can ask for the whole thing. Tip number 6, make sure your horse will stand to mount before doing this exercise. If he doesn't stand for you, then trying to get on him and trying to teach him to move towards the mounting block might be a challenge. I have a video on teaching my horse to stand still for mounting. I'll link it in the description below. Tip number 7, use the fence if you get stuck. The horse really is going to be confused. You're standing on one side, you're putting pressure on the opposite side. That is very confusing. So he really has the options to move forwards, backwards, left and right. Having a fence will take away one of those options. So if you stand on the inside of the fence, the horse, and then the fence, and you put that pressure on, now he can't move his hindquarters towards the fence. He's gonna get stuck, there's nowhere to go. So it takes away one of those options. Lastly, this is just my method. I'm sure it's not the best, and I'm sure it's not the only one out there. There are lots of different ways to train a horse to get the same result. There are a lot of different variations. This is just mine and how it worked for me. But yeah, if you try this, let me know. I did record myself doing this with Misty, and Theodore literally took like 5 minutes to do it. Misty, on the other hand, took like 25 minutes, but she nailed it. And unfortunately, I accidentally deleted that video, and I was kind of disappointed in that. But if you guys really want to see her experience, we had to use the fence, and it took a long time. If you want to see her experience, comment down below. I did mention that when you're teaching a horse, you have to teach both sides, and I only taught her one side. So I can teach her other side and show that and film that. So if you want to see it, I can make that happen. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in seeing more videos, definitely subscribe to my channel. Thanks, guys.